I doubt, therefore I think, therefore I am. The reading of all good books is like conversation with the finest men of past centuries. If you would be a real seeker after truth, it is necessary that at least once in your life you doubt, as far as possible, all things. With me, everything turns into mathematics. Because reason is the only thing that makes us men, and distinguishes us from the beasts, I would prefer to believe that it exists, in its entirety, in each of us. It is a mark of prudence never to place our complete trust in those who have deceived us even once. For the very fact that my knowledge is increasing little by little is the most certain argument for its imperfection. Of all things, good sense is the most fairly distributed. Everyone thinks he is so well supplied with it that even those who are the hardest to satisfy in every other respect never desire more of it than they already have. Conquer yourself rather than the world. Doubt is the origin of wisdom. Common sense is the most widely shared commodity in the world, for every man is convinced that he is well supplied with it. Good sense is the most equitably distributed of all things because no matter how much or little a person has, everyone feels so abundantly provided with good sense that he feels no desire for more than he already possesses. It is not enough to have a good mind. The main thing is to use it well. One should never judge anything unless it is known. So blind is the curiosity by which mortals are possessed, that they often conduct their minds along unexplored routes, having no reason to hope for success, but merely being willing to risk the experiment of finding whether the truth they seek lies there. The first precept was never to accept a thing as true until I knew it as such without a single doubt. My third maxim was to try always to master myself rather than fortune and change my desires rather than changing how things stand in the world. I had become aware, as early as my college days, that no opinion, however absurd and incredible can be imagined, that has not been held by one of the philosophers. Except our own thoughts, there is nothing absolutely in our power. And thus, the actions of life often not allowing any delay, it is a truth very certain that, when it is not in our power to determine the most true opinions, we ought to follow the most probable. The greatest minds are capable of the greatest vices as well as of the greatest virtues. Bad books engender bad habits, but bad habits engender good books. I am accustomed to sleep and in my dreams to imagine the same things that lunatics imagine when awake. It is best not to go on for great quest for truth, it will only make you miserable. But what then am I? A thing that thinks. What is that? A thing that doubts, understands, affirms, denies, wills, refuses, and that also imagines and senses. Am I so tied to a body and senses that I am incapable of existing without them? They do everything in their power to make fortune favor them in this life, but nevertheless they think so little of it, in relation to eternity, that they view the events of the world as we do those of a play. For to be possessed of a vigorous mind is not enough. The prime requisite is rightly to apply it. It is thus quite certain that the constitution of the true religion, the ordinances of which are derived from God, must be incomparably superior to that of every other. I desire to live in peace and to continue the life I have begun under the motto, to live well you must live unseen. It is only prudent never to place complete confidence in that by which we have even once been deceived. You just keep pushing. You just keep pushing. I made every mistake that could be made. But I just kept pushing. But in my opinion, all things in nature occur mathematically. To live without philosophizing is in truth the same as keeping the eyes closed without attempting to open them. Nothing is more fairly distributed than common sense. No one thinks he needs more of it than he already has. When I turn my mind's eye upon myself, I understand that I am a thing which is incomplete and dependent on another and which aspires without limit to ever greater and better things. The destruction of the foundations necessarily brings down the whole edifice. Whenever anyone has offended me, I try to raise my soul so high that the offense cannot reach it. Each problem that I solved became a rule, which served afterwards to solve other problems. For I found myself embarrassed with so many doubts and errors that it seemed to me that the effort to instruct myself had no effect other than the increasing discovery of my own ignorance. To know what people really think, pay attention to what they do, rather than what they say. He who hid well, lived well. Let whoever can do so deceive me. He will never bring it about that I am nothing, so long as I continue to think I am something. When it is not in our power to determine what is true, we ought to follow what is most probable. Truths are more likely to have been discovered by one man than by nation. It is prudent never to trust those who have deceived us, even if only once.